And I'd like to talk to you about starting a crypto mining operation with immersion cooling that reduces the space used for warehousing data centers by 90%, as well as reducing the electricity used because there's no fans or cooling. It's just bubbled through this special type of oil. So let's just talk about immersive cooling first, if you're not familiar with that. How it works is you just take all the chips and boards. You don't even need all the shells you see on these different miners, and you put them underwater, and then the liquid circulates and it steams up and drips off the coil. There's a couple different methods of doing this, but the chips are all in here. This is the future of how everything will happen. They're inside a tank. It's just the chip and the motherboard. So that's the way data centers are moving to. And we have a contract to sell them. We have a custom tank builder who puts the chips in and does the pumps that pump the hot liquid gets pumped out. It cools and it comes back into the tank. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Here's a picture of it underwater and bubbling. Let's see if we have another good picture. And let's see here. Here's kind of a clear tank where you can see everything inside. And here's the liquid bubbling on the top. It's kind of cool. You can actually see what's happening in there. A group in China. So anyways, the old way of doing data centers, these stacks with fans and all this noise, leasing all this space and having this huge expense, is now going the way of the dinosaur. Groups like Apple and Amazon and Google are getting their own Bitcoin miners, and we want to get our own. So what we need to do for that is we'd like to raise about $16 million, and what that would do is allow us to buy these ASIC miners, Antminer E11 44 terahashes per watt, and kilowatt use is about 1.9 8 kilowatts per hour, so call it 2,000 kilowatts an hour. They have 42 chips a miner, and we're going to pay about $5,000 for them. That's going to give us some operating capital. I mean, they're technically $2,000 each, but with the tariff from Trump and shipping, it's going to be at least $3,000 each. And we're going to probably need to, we're definitely going to need to hire and build a building and plumb it and do electrical. So putting about $5,000 each in there takes us about to 15.6. We'll just call it 16 million roughly is what we're looking for. That'll get us 2,940 actual miner boards, and each board has multiple chips. So what that's going to do is each miner will create $9.78 at the Bitcoin price of what we've seen for 6 months is about 6,400. So that'll spin off 874,000 a month, about 10,494,000 a year. So that gives us some money, gross revenue up here, and then we'll have some expenses, salaries and benefits of 14,000 a month, and depending on electric costs, let's look at the costs here. Electricity is, if you pay 12 cents, the going residential rate, that's very expensive. On a daily cost of 16,000. Whereas if we went solar, it'd be about 5,000 a day. So monthly, you're looking at 500,000 a month versus 161,000 a month, and that's 6 million a year for electricity versus 2 million. So literally, we save 60%, 65% by going solar. Anyways, sites and benefits, we're going to need an operations manager. We have a guy, Chris Jacobs, we'd like to hire for that. Hopefully we can get them for 60,000. Network administrator, we have Chase and Cameron Black. They're running their own tank operation right now for 24,000. We'll just pay them consulting fee. Fees about 2,000 a month. They're going to buy it. We're going to buy the tanks from them, so it'd be a reasonable price to consult with them. I'd be the CEO of this for reasonable salary. We'll just start with 60, and in accounting, well, $1,000 a month for that, and some legal work. So if we're going to lease this for $15 million, we can pay your group 7.5% for 60 months. you'll make back 120% there altogether at the end. So your 15 million becomes 18 for a 20% profit. It would allow us to still make an ROI of 29%. If we pay taxes instead of using the money to build more, we could probably net 29%. If we pay some taxes, we have net 23. But the ROI is 67% a year, so we could just pay you off in 2 years and be done with that. But to operate and keep running, we're going to go with a 5-year payback of 60 months. Now, if you would want to put the money down and take some of the profits, our ROI goes up to 53% per year because we're not paying that debt service there, and everything gets a little more profitable. So annually, we're making 10 million and expensing some things out. Our biggest expense here would be the lease, but solar electricity also is coming in. So if we look at paying for residential over here at 12 cents, that would be about 500,000 a month. So if we put that 500,000 a month into a solar grid here as our monthly payment at 12 cents, then we see that we can save a good $309 million over a 25-year period. So if we're just looking at 7 years, going solar saves us about $2 million. So that's would be probably a 39 million kilowatt system, and the cost would give some kind of investor group, instead of paying taxes, they could have a nice expense of 116 million to write this, and then they get a $35 million tax deduction back for the 30% tax credit for money withheld from them. So that'll be a nice tax credit that they could use, and then do a power purchase agreement for the rest of it to the group, but to someone else. But if we can get our electricity for 3.8 cents from the typical cost of solar in Texas during the day, and abuse the 0% rate at night, which this group, Chase and Cameron, are going to help us do. They run it really hard at night when the rates are 0, and then use solar during the day would be the idea to save some money. So, this is it in a nutshell. Let's see. If we did have to do the lease, then ROIs are a little different. But that's it in a nutshell. We'd like to get 16 million. If you'd like to look at being owners in the operation, it's another discussion we could have. So that's the short and the long of it for now. Let's discuss things and move forward.